Ladies and gentlemen, we got a special guest in the house. He came all the way from Manhattan during this thunderstorm.
That was a $7 cab ride.
$7? That's not that bad, though. That's not that bad. Sit down, man. Make yourself at home, Stretch.
It's really steamy in here.
It is steamy in here, man.
It is. Wait till the summer.
But you know what it is?
We're going to change the show to the
our
Armstrong
fucking neighbors play their fucking music too loud, King? What the fuck,
janky.
man? Can't they have a radio
During the
show?
summer, the show is going to be called the Amistad Show.
Can't they have a radio show and turn their shit
off.
down a little bit more, man?
How does their music being loud make it steamy in here?
Because we closed the door.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I mean, if we would have opened that door, it'd be a lot cooler. But you hear how loud these motherfuckers are playing?
Yeah,
Can we get them to turn that shit down, man?
Where's my punch?
Oh, here. Let's internets. Let's give him a proper welcome. You know him, DJ Stretch Armstrong. He's a legend in the game.
I just realized we both share our well, it's not my name, but my Twitter handle. We both have the military.
The military type of thing going on, right? Combat Jack
and Stretch
Army.
What's up?
What's up, man? Welcome to the show, man. Thank you so much, Stretch. It's such an honor for you to be here, man.
Shit.
How you been, man?
I'm good, Reggie. You're on it. You're persistent.
Persistent in what, man?
I'm saying, where did we see each other
at the Mob Deep show, Mabu show?
Yo, come on down to the show. Yeah.
No, I said, can you come on my show? And you were like, whoa. You give me the pause signals. Like, whoa. But, I was sober enough to know that, you're a man of your word, right?
Yes, and here I am.
But
it was a hectic week, but and I apologize for taking a minute to get back
That's
to you.
okay. You're here.
But, hey.
You are here, man.
Yeah.
That was a great job you did at the show, man.
That was, I didn't get enough time.
Okay.
I was supposed to get a full hour.
Okay.
Had about 25 minutes.
But you got paid for an hour, right?
I didn't get paid by the time. I got paid by the.
Look at this man.
That's the new hip hop now. New hip hop.
Yo, Dallas has just emptied a bottle of Hollywood Punch.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I cheers with Hollywood Punch. For real. Hard body.
So Stretch, man.
Reggie.
What steps did you take, man, to become the legend that you are today, man? Like, you're a legend. Do you realize that you're a legend? In the game, you have a legion of followers from coast to coast,
man.
What
was the first song you heard? And, like, your ears...
Yeah, I like the specific questions, because I'm not really in thinking mode.
What song did you hear and your ears rang and you said, oh, shit, who made that song? What the fuck is that?
Yo, let me interrupt you for a second. Hollywood, the next time you come, you see how these motherfuckers beast on the punch, right? You got to bring a half a gallon, man. This is pomegranate. Won't you put some pomegranate in your...
Stretch going in.
That should look like some 40 some Spanish fly from the 40 dude.
Some tiger bone.
But anyway, man, how'd you get in the game, man? Let's get down to brass tactics, man. How'd you get into the game, man?
What do they say? You got to have talent and all that, but you got to have you have to take advantage of your opportunities. I was lucky enough to have some opportunities that I think were rare, but actually happened. I started DJing because when I was at Columbia, I started promoting parties with a friend of mine. Now, what were you studying
at Columbia, man?
I was undergrad, so I wasn't studying shit. I was taking my book money, buying records, going downtown to clubs, going downtown.
No weed?
No. I was never a pothead, but spending.
You never inhaled, man?
Oh no, sure, I've gotten high. Sure, yeah.
You still kind of get high?
No, I don't smoke.
Okay. Does it make you paranoid?
It makes time just really choppy and
right.
Like, if someone calls my name, I'll turn my head, and everything will just seem like it's just going too fast.
Well, when you hear your
name, it's so confusing. It's frustrating.
Okay, I got you.
But if I'm on
you got one of those complicated minds.
Let's say, right now, this radio station was on the beach in Jamaica.
Right.
I would partake.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's the occasion. I got you.
Absolutely.
When your guard's not so up, and you can let your hair down.
Exactly. But so I was I'm from New York. So I grew up listening to hip hop. I was lucky enough to. I grew up on the edge of Spanish Harlem. So as soon as you could hear hip hop outside and boom boxes and whatnot, I was exposed to it. I had an older sister that was going to clubs. She was actually friends with Rick Rubin and Beastie Boys, like in 1985, 86. So
I gotta say, Stretch always feels like to me the fourth Beastie Boy, like the missing Beatle. I always felt like you were the fourth Beastie.
Well, the funny thing is when we're gonna have too many conversations about to jump off. What are we gonna do? I could talk about this for a long time.
Man.
Talk about anything.
Just go, man.
Yeah. So older sister being in New York, edge of Spanish Harlem, I was buying 12 inches since Robber's Delight, and then I was doing clubs at parties at Columbia for our friends at Columbia, and then those parties became really successful, so they came downtown, and just by the virtue of me being in the clubs downtown, I started getting hooked up with record labels, promos, and whatnot. And one of the first promo people I met was Bobito.
We got to jump in there.
This guy's punching.
No, we got to jump in there.
Punching. That's a pun because he's
down.
punching in.
Payday.
Punching in.
He's
and
punching in with
it's
the punch.
It's also.
Don't be generic. Payday, $100,000 bar.
Generic. Don't be generic. What does that mean?
Don't be parties downtown. There was 1,000 parties downtown. Yeah. I mean, Loft Party on Broadway. Payday.
Payday, Milky Way.
You know what? I think the internets don't know about Payday and Milky Way and.
But I was at those parties as a patron,
as an attendee,
just like wow,
right?
I mean, catching guys like the Fascinating Force, Duke of Denmark, Red Alert, Bobby Condors, who those were like a lot of those parties were Patrick Moxie and
piece of Patrick Moxie.
But
I saw the Dismasters, B. Remember the Dismasters?
Of course.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
What do you mean, rest in peace?
Those guys all expired.
The whole crew?
I think so, yeah. That's what Primo told me.
It was like 3 cats or 2?
Yeah. Centipede, Ricochet.
Small Time Hustler, right?
Yeah.
Damn.
Can
we find that record? Can you find that record? Dismasters.
There's no real retirement for hip hop. You just die.
So I went to Def Jam, and on my way to Def Jam, I bump into a friend of mine, this really cool English girl, and she says, "Oh, you going to Def Jam? I have a crush on Robert Garcia, so look for him." So I get to Def Jam. This is like 1989, 90. I get to Def Jam. There's no receptionist. The door's open. I'm walking around Def Jam, and nothing's going on there.
Nothing, right? Small corridor.
And I walk into the conference room, and there's a guy putting records in envelopes, and I'm like, "Yo, Robert Garcia." That's me. And then we started talking. We hit it off immediately, and then we ended up taking a walk either that day or the next day, and we went to Ben and Jerry's.
Okay.
And I knew the girls working at Ben and Jerry's, and they were both really beautiful. 2 beautiful teenage girls working at Ben and Jerry's.
Now, what was Ben and Jerry's?
Ice cream.
No, where was it?
It was on 3rd Avenue and 9th Street, between 9th and 10th.
Yeah.
And Bob was so amped off of me introducing him to these really hot girls that he was like, I gotta fucking roll with this dude.
Right.
So he wanted to be my friend from Jump Up.
From Ben and Jerry's.
Really, that's just a funny anecdote. We got along really, really well. And that week I was like, yo, it would be dope if we had a radio show. But that was just we thought maybe we'd try to produce a show and then get it picked up, radio stations, some syndication. We didn't know what we were doing. And then, like 3 weeks later, I got the go from Columbia University's radio station, KCR, to do a show.
Okay.
And the rest
is history.
Down, yeah.
Now, did you know that when y'all was embarking on this show that y'all were really gonna make an impact?
No, because we had no idea.
This landscape of hip-hop.
We had no idea how long we'd even be on the air.
Right.
I mean,
and you had no radio training.
None. No.
Like
no,
us.
In fact,
like us.
In fact, well, I think the best radio people don't have training.
Right.
And those aren't always the people that become the mainstream daytime or morning show people, but often are the people that I think have the most intriguing radio shows.
Right.
The first time we were on the radio, the reason why I wanted Bob on the radio, and it wasn't just Bob, it was Curious George as well.
Curious George,
who was sort of doing A&R at Def Jam, which I think really meant just hanging out in front of.
He picking up chicks. He wasn't official because I was.
No, he wasn't official.
I was at Def Jam at the time.
Yeah, he wasn't official,
and he was just hanging out. Like he was. Bobito at the time was the intern.
No. When I was there, Bob was official. He was the mix show.
So he was Bob's weed carrier, then, even though Bobito didn't smoke weed.
Shampoo man.
Yeah.
Lotion
man.
Whoa, lotion man.
La Pause, right?
You don't want to be a lotion man. But
Peace, Securious George.
Yeah, so we're on the. So I didn't want to. You know what it is? I was like, dude, I'm a white dude,
right,
in New York City trying to play hip hop on the radio.
Right,
I can't talk.
So
I was like, I need these guys to, you know, be give it the, you know, stamp of authenticity.
Right.
Because I know like you can never tell me anything about my taste. Even back then, I know it's hot, I know it's not hot. Period.
But you didn't feel that you could be a voice?
Not in New York City on the radio. Come on. So plus I was a little bit mic shy. I still am. Like you saw me at that like talking in front of crowds, all that. It's not really, never really been my thing. I mean, like it's taken me a long time just to become comfortable talking.
Well, you look comfortable right now, man.
Well, I'm in a room with, you know, a bunch of guys. We're not
Hollywood Punch.
We're not, you know, on stage.
Hollywood Punch too, right?
No, yeah, a little tolerance.
Yeah, okay.
But so the first song I ever played on the radio, which is a trivia song, I often ask people who claim to be really, really down with the show from day one. The first song was Ego Trippin' by Ultramagnetic. Now, that wasn't a current record, but it just sort of, I was just so like, damn, I get to play Ego Trippin' by Ultra on the radio. That's so ill.
Yeah.
You need to pull up that record too, Ben.
So I played that, and then a few songs later, we're like, I think we should get on the mic, right?
Right.
We turned the mics on, and Bob went, and turned the mics off. He just got stuck.
He got
shook.
Shot, right.
He got shook.
Got shook.
And then like the first year, I wasn't talking that much, and people were calling the show the Bobito Show, and I was like, I put too much work into this show, in between shows, during the show, for that.
And you watch Bobito become comfortable with the mic.
Oh, we all got comfortable. Yeah, it was. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But Flex, actually, this is before Flex was on Hot.
Right.
So this is when Flex was carrying Chuck
he
Chill's weed.
he had already surpassed Chuck Chillot because he was doing a lot of guesting on BLS and Kiss. Was in the clubs.
He had gotten his own weed.
And then he had the record on Warlock, the with 9MM, Falling and I Can't Get Up.
Yeah.
And Flex would come by the show. Like he was definitely he was an early supporter, like of another DJ, and he came up and he pulled me aside and he was like, yo, Stretch, you need to talk more. And you need to make sure Bobito is bigging you up as the DJ. And he was really...
So as a DJ, he realized he understood your plight in terms of being a DJ. And,
well, I think,
and DJs as the culture started to progress, man, DJs started to fall way in the back.
Yeah. Well, yeah, even before that.
Right.
But Flex has always had his eye on the prize. Like he's always...
Nah, I mean...
Flex is
he's a politician. Flex has always been looking 3 steps ahead.
Right.
And I'm more the dude that's just kind of like enjoying the moment.
Just happy to be there.
Yeah, I was a fucking hip hop fanatic fan, white kid from New York City on the radio in New York. Like, it's crazy.
Right.
But can I say also that hip hop has a long legacy of white kids hanging out, being influential, being crucial. Like I honestly, you don't get a pass for being white, but you do get a pass for being down as fuck.
Yeah, of course, you never get a pass for being white. I think you got to overcompensate that. If you're white, you just automatic. Look, I know for me as a white dude, when I would see other white dudes in the scene, I was not checking for them.
Really?
Like Chulo, me and Reef. I didn't like Reef when I'd see him in the club. Well,
Reef was not a friendly dude, man.
Okay, well,
I mean, he never really came.
It was reciprocated.
He never really came. I only really started talking to Reef maybe about 5 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
I find that hard to believe.
Only because, like, we had the same circles, but we weren't in the same circle. So, I had been introduced to him several times. He'd been introduced to me several times, but we never really had a reason to build. You know what I mean? So I didn't start building with Reef until like 5 years ago.
That's bugged.
Yeah.
But we became, famous friends.
Right.
It was.
And now he's doing his thing.
Yeah, he's been doing his thing.
Yeah.
He's always been a behind the scenes,
Mover
puppet
shaker.
master.
Yeah. No.
Anyway, so that's how the radio started.
Okay.
And then within the first year, we were getting all kinds of accolades and coverage from like the Village Voice, Paper Magazine, Details.
That's when the press was hot, man.
Yeah,
that's when the press was real organic, and you had to find your shit, man.
And what was cool about the Village Voice article was it was sort of a combination.
Who wrote the article? By the way,
I don't remember, but it was like a combination of coverage of our show, but it was also about company flow.
Okay.
And
that's good.
And sort of talking about how.
Wait, and what year was this?
Actually, that was a little bit later. But
Yeah.
I was playing Company Flow before. I mean, before they were on Raucous
Right.
and
So
you know, I was playing them.
so you kind of
I was playing them when LP was making like really like ghetto hip hop records
Right.
before he went more alternative and bugged out like
eccentric.
like creeping around corners. And,
Right.
like I remember being in Queensbridge and like kids asking me like, "Yo, who made that Creeping Around Corners record?" They
Right.
like that,
Right.
You know. But that was an interesting article because it was kind of, I mean, you know, you don't think of the Voice as being a mainstream publication, but back then
it was a mainstream,
and it was sort of pointing out how you know this show had sort of really become something and there were artists affiliated with the show that the show was really saying, you know, these are our dudes, check them out, and they were taking note.
Now let me ask you something. What did your parents think about what you was doing at the time, man?
Oh, they thought it was great.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you had support.
Oh, absolutely. I left Columbia. I continued to do the show, but I stopped going to Columbia because I was just so about the music, and it was like the day after registration when I was like just moping around the house, and my dad was like, "What's wrong? Aren't you supposed to be at school?" I was like, "Yo, Pops, I'm not feeling this." He was like, "Well, do it, then get a job, get an internship, do something." And then I started working for Craig Callman at Big Beat.
Okay, so that's how you.
Before he was even doing hip hop, I was like, I'm stuck at this house label. I was into house at the time, so I liked that. But I was.
Were you really into the house movement in New York at the time?
Yeah, I mean, as a DJ, you were into everything. I'd go to you know out. Can't even talk. Go to VP Records, Superpower to get the reggae records. You know, going to Vinyl May to get the house imports. You know, going to Rock and Soul to get the hip hop records. You just
now what was
everything.
really magical about the industry back then in New York was that even though, you know, most of us or all of us were hip hop at heart, we really enjoyed all types of music that was coming out in New York at the time.
Well, look, I feel like a broken record talking about this kind of thing. I mean, the difference between DJs now and DJs back then is hip hop DJs. There used to be hip hop DJs, now they're rap DJs.
Right.
And you know, DJs pretty much a DJ now that calls himself a hip hop DJ tends to be someone that plays top 40 hip hop, R&B, some pop, maybe the hot reggae songs. You know, it's pretty formulaic. And you know, if it wasn't for open-minded DJs, hip hop would have never even, you know, come into existence.
Right.
You know, DJs were playing Led Zeppelin breaks, you know, putting beats over Phil Collins records, playing the Tom Tom Club. I'm naming
Clash.
the non sort of typical soul and funk breaks,
Right.
like all the other records that hip hop DJs would play. You know, and I'm talking about as far back as the early '70s. Babe Ruth, that's a white rock band that had a funky record, had a funky break on a record. You know, and I mean, it'd be great if that same mentality existed now, but it doesn't. I mean, not certainly not with mainstream hip hop.
Why do you think that doesn't exist anymore, man?
Well, because back then people did it for the culture.
Right.
You know, you did it whether you were playing in a park. You were doing it because you were going to have people. People were coming out. People were coming out to check you, and you felt you were like, "Yo, I'm running shit." But you know, and there could have been money in it, but it wasn't.
Money wasn't the drive, B.
It wasn't. But you know, once you knew there was money, you'd figure out how to do what you do and get there. But it was you know, and I say this a lot too. It was the type of person that was a DJ before the digital revolution is a peculiar animal. Like you know, I talk to like all my DJ friends about this, whether it's Ellie Escobar, Riz, Clark, or whatever. I mean, like, yeah, we would go to record stores sometimes every day during a week. We would. You know, I would travel up and down the East Coast looking for records, stopping in D.C., stopping in Atlanta, stopping in Baltimore, ripping out the pages from the phone book, going to the hood and looking for people who were selling junk, going to people's basements and you know, trying to buy records out of their collections, whatever it's. Exactly.
DITC.
And that kind of thing. Those people. That doesn't exist anymore. Right. Now, you know, you got models with computers and you just go online and you buy your shit. But
Stretch, why hasn't a system like Pandora allowed people to kind of connect the dots? Because what you're saying is that, you know, back then, and I agree with you, back then people connected the dots. And people went from the Clash to PE to, you know, people ran the gamut. Now, why doesn't a system like Pandora, why aren't people able to connect the dots now?
I don't quite know what you're talking about, but
Why don't people find it?
Why aren't people more inquisitive and don't have the impulse to discover stuff that they aren't fed?
Right.
Because that's the nature of how media is built right now. It's you don't have to you don't have to do anything except turn your computer on to watch videos, to listen to music, and for those that are curious, it's great because you don't have to leave your house and go on a journey to find something. You can find stuff at the tip of your fingers, but at the same time, most people they go to the places that are popular where they're just gonna get the stuff that they rely on, and
I think
it doesn't lead to more inquisitive consumers.
I think also, man, like back then, man, and I'm not trying to sound like shit back then was hotter than it is now, but back then, man,
but it was
like the search, like the streets of New York City was that much more exciting, dude. It's like we didn't have the computers or the internets, but just walking down the street, man, and the different types of styles and fads and chicks and crews and all types of art that was created back then. That shit right there, just being around.
Well, it was local,
Yeah.
The internet has made everything global. I was DJing in Tijuana like 3 years ago, and I couldn't believe it was like.
How was that, man?
I mean, it was great, but and I liked it because the kids were so passionate about the music and the fashion, but it was like they didn't look that much different than the kids in LA.
Right.
I was like, this is just totally bizarre because I've been in Mexico throughout my whole life, and like I'd never seen anything like this. These kids were straight out of American Apparel in Tijuana.
Let me ask you something, man. What's one of the wildest places you DJ'd on the planet, man? Like, be it country and club and circumstance and the whole nine.
My memory is terrible.
You blew your memory, man.
There's a lot. It's just a lot of places.
A lot of input.
I mean, Tijuana was that's what. Because Tijuana now is really funky. Like you don't really want to go there. Like the whole if you read in the news,
cartels and kidnappers.
The whole drug situation is nuts.
It's out of hand.
It's nuts. Yeah.
And you can't be a gringo and be in Tijuana and feel that.
I mean, I think you got to be with the right people.
Right.
But I DJ'd and then we went out and we were looking for a taco stand. And we're pulling up to a taco stand, and there's a commotion going on. I realize someone's robbing the taco stand of tacos.
Really?
Not money. Like
at
ordering
gunpoint,
tacos.
at gunpoint?
No, ordering tacos and running. They had the car with the engine on. The car's going. The dude's running down the street with tacos in his hand, jumping in the and then they're throwing mad shit at him.
That's crazy.
It's hilarious. This was like 4 years ago. But I love going to places that I've never been.
Now, have you been to Africa, man?
No.
Never been to Africa.
No, I was.
Technical difficulty.
Hello.
DJ, producer,
Real radio.
real radio.
I've never been to Africa to DJ or to just check it out.
Now let me ask you something, Stretch.
But I want to.
Let me ask you something, though.
So Africa, what up?
Let me interrupt you, man. Like when y'all was doing your thing, man, on a weekly basis, man. Did y'all was your setup kind of like this, man, or how do you rate our setup, man? Because
this is well, we had we did KCR for nearly a decade, so we started at Ferris Booth Hall in the radio station that existed the way it had since the '60s.
Okay.
Which was just fucked up.
Right.
Sometimes, I mean, we had those old school analog level meters.
Okay.
And sometimes the one side would just drop out, so you have to just use the percussive method and punch the board, and then it would come back on.
Shit in, right.
And then they were going to redo Ferris Booth Hall, so we moved into the basement of the church, the Riverside Church, further uptown.
Remember that.
And that was nicer. Real equipment, real console. I see you just got the little Mackie right here.
Yeah.
But this is actually kind of a flyer situation than what we had.
You like the situation?
Yeah. How many hours a day is this place used? This is boring.
No. That's an 8 King. That's an 8 King question.
We're 12 to 12 every day.
12. Yeah,
except for Sundays.
This is nice. It was. But I went to. I saw WKCR when they redid it up at Ferris Booth Hall. It's not actually Ferris Booth Hall anymore. They rebuilt the whole building, and those college stations just get fucked up so fast.
Yeah.
Fucked up.
It's crazy.
Fucked up.
It's crazy.
Can't blame hip hop.
Yo, Internets, we have Stretch Armstrong in the studio. We're going to go to a little music break. You're tuned into the Combat Jack Show. This might very well be our last episode, end of the world.
Why's that?
End of the world, man.
Who's saying that?
What's up, man?
What?
You're not up on people saying that Saturday.
This new Christian mythology says.
Oh, cool.
May 21st.
May 21st is
I love religion.
the end of days. The end of days.
Religion is the shit.
End of days. But internets, you're tuned into the Combat Jack Show. www.pncradio.fm.
It would be nice if the people that believe that would all disappear on Saturday.
Well, that's
the hope. That's the hope.
That's
the hope.
Yeah. And once again, internets, I'd like to remind you that this episode, this end of days episode, was brought to you by the fine folk at Hollywood Punch.
Hollywood Punch. Okay.
There you go. Let's take it to the bridge.
newmanati.
Yeah.
Internets. I am punchy up in this piece tonight.
You feeling punchy?
I am straight punchy.
Why?
Thanks to our sponsor, Hollywood Punch.
Hollywood Punch will make you
Yo,
punch.
Hollywood is over the corner. Hollywood's over the corner, just chilling.
Hollywood
But
drinking.
he's really slinging his shit right now, like the dealer.
Nah, I like that.
I had to go to him like, yo, fam, you got any more of that? And he was like, he looked at me too, like straight, like, yo, he's just treating me like a junkie.
Nah,
he looked at me one time like,
let me tell you the setup.
all right, son, you take this,
Let
son.
me tell you the setup.
Yo.
Internets. So Hollywood from Hollywood Punch came in and he gave us these two. What size bottles? 2 liters, right? And we downed them liters in about 5 minutes, right? And so Hollywood is standing in the corner as the show is transpiring, and every now and then he'll pull out one of those little nips, right? Nips, all types of different colors, like the pomegranate or the lime, blueberry, peach, and the whole nine. But he's handing them out like vials. You know what I'm saying? And we're here thirsty, and Stretch is talking, and Dallas is sweating, and it's hot in here, and yo, you are a master at your craft, B. Thank you very much. You are a master at your craft. You're gonna go far, man. So anyway, man.
But hold on for a second.
Yeah.
Getting back to our great guest.
Yes.
I relate to Stretch and Bob basically as the folks who broke Mob to me. Now I come
Mobb
from
Deep.
Queens. Yes, Mobb Deep.
Right.
And I thought it was fantastic. A sense of serendipity.
Right.
At the Mobb Deep show, since they haven't performed together in 3 years.
This past week.
That last week, that Stretch was DJing, and I was like, yeah, this is right. I missed Bob there that night just to kind of make the cipher complete. But still, Stretch, when did you meet Mobb Deep?
You know what? I actually don't
remember.
where I first met them, because I was kind of fucking with them. Before they before they were Mobb Deep, when they were Political Prophets, and
Political Prophets.
And then, of course, they changed their name when they got their deal. But I was playing their records before. I guess they probably came up to KCR.
Hit it from the back. Is that what you were playing? There's FT right there.
Hold down the fort, all that peer pressure.
Bring FT back in here for a second. Yeah. So
yo, F.
Yo, FT just walked into the room. FT, we were talking during the break. We were talking about Stretch's history, with some rappers, and he mentioned FT. What's up, FT?
What up?
How you been, man?
Ready for combat.
There you go, FT. For those of y'all that don't know out there, FT is the creator of the architect of our theme song, man. What's going on, man?
Chilling, family. Just came down to see my brothers real quick. I heard my long lost brother was in town too. So.
Now y'all got history, right?
Ancient
history, right?
Yeah.
Word, pyramid.
Hieroglyphics.
Like how'd y'all meet? Like what'd y'all do in the past, man?
I guess we probably met through Skill, who probably at the radio station.
Okay.
First time, and I was playing his records consistently before we inked a deal, which the part of the deal that was unfortunately with Epic, Sony.
Yeah.
Word,
we tried to. It's the psychology is like, why go somewhere where they don't need you? Go where you're needed, and then you go where you're needed, and they just it's a mess.
What,
Epic.
they don't know how to work you, they
to
don't
this
know
day has Epic
Nah, they know how to tempt
hip hop
you. Nah.
to this day.
So let me ask Stretch, man. You've had an interesting career not only as a DJ, man, but as we were speaking off air, man, it seems like you've also had an interesting career with some of the record labels, man. And from what I'm getting, you know, people have respected you for your influence and your ears and you know the acts that you've broken. But it seems like you've had an interesting career with these labels, man. Can you share with us how that's gone, man?
Yeah, it's a mixed bag. I mean, I think record labels for the most part get a really tend to get a bad rap,
right?
And I've certainly dished out my frustrations with
your ire
with record labels as much as the next man. But anyone who's been on the inside of a record label knows, especially back then. I mean, it's always been difficult to be a successful record label. I mean, the amount of money it takes to break records and the competition
and dealing with artists also. Because artists
dealing with artists is
not all artists, but most artists are motherfucking crazy.
It's difficult, yeah. I mean, and not just hip hop artists, just
we crazy,
artistic
man.
personalities
y'all are
in general.
crazy, right?
Yeah, man. I'm fucking crazy.
But yeah, I mean, I started working at Big Beat even before I was on the radio. That was Craig Kalman's label, even before he was then an executive at Atlantic.
Right.
And after that, I worked for Steve Rifkin at Loud.
Wow.
Where I sort of I always thought that I brought Mobb Deep to Steve, and I think we were just talking about how I think Matty C back then was also championing their cause to Steve at the same time.
Right.
And then after Loud, I had my indie label Dolo, which and I had a sub label with Tragedy, which is 25 to Life, which had a really kind of fantastic start and then quickly a quick ending.
Yeah, shout out to Tragedy, man.
A quick due to Tragedy's disappearance.
Yeah.
From I don't know where he went, but we
25
had something so fantastic.
Got the death sentence.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what?
But,
speaking of Tragedy, man, don't you think it's time he changed his name, B?
Well, hey,
something like success, happiness, stress-free,
comedy.
Yeah, comedy.
Tragedy's a funny dude, in the best way.
Yeah.
And then and after that, I did a deal with Sony.
Okay. So that's 3 deals.
I had a label deal with Sony, and before that I had an indie label, and then before that I was an A&R consultant, and before that I think I was just officially A&R. But then I've worked at these labels where I was brought in, and then as the labels sort of demanded more of my time, I felt like the tension between my independence and career as a DJ and wanting to travel and do my own thing, and with their demands is, we need you in here at 9 a.m. and like that's just that's not happening.
That's not happening. But you made good coin. You made good record company coin.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was involved in a number of artists getting signed. I mean, the deal I had with Sony for
oh shit.
For some more successful.
Look who just walked in the room. I'm sorry.
Oh!
Look who just walked in the room. What's going on, man?
Toka. Yeah, I'm gonna pick this up in a minute, but let me just finish this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the amount of money that Sony was throwing at me and they renewed my deal, which was the oddest thing because I had this stable of hot artists that they weren't even signing.
Right.
They just wanted to keep me. It was bugged. I mean,
it's crazy how much money the industry
had.
had.
I had Pretty Ugly. I had from Dolo I had Dutchman. I had I signed FT. I signed Pretty Ugly. I had I mean, there were others, but they wouldn't pick up any of them.
Right.
They didn't. I mean, maybe they didn't.
But they didn't want you to go elsewhere.
Yeah, which was retarded.
Which is crazy.
And I was like, all right, it's time.
But I mean,
it's time to go. And then they renewed my deal.
But it goes with the psychology of the industry, though, where it's not really taking chances on the talent, but still operating out of a sense of greed.
Greed or fear.
Greed.
As well.
Greed is the other side of fear.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? In a sense.
Yeah, no, it's true. We don't want him to go somewhere else with this. So we'll just
definitely.
It was I mean, it was kind of a frustrating experience because I really. Look, I was in a position where I could play these artists' demos on my show and get immediate feedback. Like, I knew what was going on.
Right.
I'm playing It wasn't even a freestyle. It was a record that Pretty Ugly made over a 50 Cent beat. And I had Nas at the station coming into the DJ booth and was like, yo, who the fuck is this? Like, I mean, that was the feedback I was getting. I knew it was up. And then, and after that, and then, after my gig at Hot 97 was up, I was kind of like, you know what? Vacation time.
So let me ask, Stretch, what are you doing these days, man? What do you do these days, man? Because the rumor is, I've heard a lot of rumors. I've heard you've walked away from hip hop. You don't fuck with hip hop. You don't play hip hop.
He's bringing
well,
that.
Let the man
He's bringing
speak.
that cardigan level hip hop into the game.
What do you
Cosby cardigan hip hop? It's that new next shit. It is. He's again 3 steps.
3 steps ahead, right?
Yes.
Well, I definitely took a break from it.
Right.
And
it got a little overwhelming, man.
I mean, listen, in 2001, I was having a really difficult time getting 2 hours of new hip hop to fill a radio show that I liked.
Right.
I was like, this is just, I'm just recycling shit here. Right. I'm like, this is boring. And so I wasn't into it. And,
you got kind of tired of what was.
And I'm not going to say that I quit. I remember having a conversation with I think my dad, and then another conversation of the same kind with Paul Rosenberg, where I was talking about how like I'm just bored, I'm not into this, and I walked away from both of those conversations, coming to the conclusion that like it would like to walk away is silly. Like
right.
You know what? Like you're on the radio in New York City.
You don't walk away when you're hot.
So, but then I got terminated. But I got terminated anyway, and I think that was probably partially because there was a vibe coming off me that I wasn't into it. I was just sort of going through the motions.
But they were also trying to farm new talent, you think?
Of course.
Right.
Yeah, I mean...
A younger generation, I mean, not saying that...
Yeah, they started rotating different DJs every Sunday. Yeah.
Can I jump
But
in?
the ultimate irony is that Peter Rosenberg is on Sunday nights playing new hip-hop.
Right. which is crazy.
Which is hilarious.
Yeah,
but anyway, but so... Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, just real quick, the rumor was that, and I'm saying this, and none of y'all got to co-sign this if it's true or not, but DJ Clue used to get mad that you used to come on before him and you had all the exclusives.
Nah, because Clue and I played very different records.
No, but
the exclusive...
you would have an Eminem freestyle or Nas freestyle.
Yeah, and he would have
Straight
DMX,
gat.
Jay-Z. I mean, he was killing it.
So that was
And
just
we have Clue. Yeah, I mean, I'm flattered that was the rumor, but I don't believe that to be the case.
In the building, too. That was in the building.
In which building?
The Hudson.
At Hot.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so you know what? It may have been true. Clue, what's up? It's like that?
What up, Clue?
Come see me. It's like,
Before you see Stretch, Clue, get you a cardigan, okay?
Yeah, don't come see Stretch without the cardigan.
Exactly.
B.
Don't come with a hoodie.
I want to know if that's true, actually.
Don't come with a
I
hoodie.
don't know. That's just like,
Who should I ask?
That's
Flex?
hearsay.
Yo, don't start planting rumors, AK.
Should I ask-
Yo, AK.
You know why I used to believe it?
AK.
Because I seen Stretch take an Eminem freestyle, cut it up, the curses on the DAT, and go to Hot and play it. And he got the whole New York City going crazy. Or Mobb Deep joint. You know, remember when the Mobb Deep? But I mean,
Clue wasn't playing
Yeah,
Mob though. I mean,
Right,
But-
but remember his affiliation with Jay-Z at the time allowed a lot of stuff that, not to be played on Clue, but Stretch was playing that. Actually,
It sounds like
Prodigy came to your show and was airing out
Sounds
Jay-Z.
like some kind of A King.
Nah,
Rap
they-
conspiracy
Nah, go back
theory.
to the history. Man.
Rap-
It might be like that.
Go
It might be
back
like
to
that.
Right.
It may have happened.
But anyway.
But when I got that call, I was like, you know what? It wasn't Tracy.
So-
It was.
so did you
It wasn't Tracy. Tracy didn't call me. It was.
Tracy Cloherty.
Yeah, it was the her boss. I forget her name. She was the head of MS in New York.
Okay.
She called me. I'm just like,
Was it
Judy.
Judy.
Stretch. I'd like you to come into the office. I said, Judy, I got a lot of shit to do.
Right.
I think I know what this is about. Just you could keep it on the phone.
Right.
And she told me.
Now, how'd you feel? Did you feel relieved?
Yeah, but I said, but you know what? All the artists on your playlist right now came through me, came through my radio show on both on 89.9 and Hot 97. And for you to not give me a last show is...
Oh, they didn't give you a last show?
Nah, they told me the day after on a Monday.
That's fucked up.
And that's because...
this might be our last show.
I know, end of days.
End of
but
days.
that's because I think when what I was told was that when the B Miners had a show on Hot and when they got canned, they had a last show and kind of wilded out. So that was their policy.
Right.
But I was like, you might have a policy, but you know me. I'm not that kind of guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? I know,
but it's policy. But it's policy.
So that was that. But I was relieved, and then that kind of allowed me to just be kind of free again, and I started and that was at the time when there was a really kind of resurgence in indie dance music in New York, like with groups like the Rapture and like the
The Rapture.
And labels like DFA and
Right.
and I was always into dance music, so I was like that. To me, that was like the vibe I was getting from there was the same vibe I was getting from hip hop in like 1988.
So it was a refreshing change.
Exactly, and I went to that, and at the time I was a little bit bitter about. First of all, and I can't front. When I was terminated from Hot 97, I thought there was no internet, so now it's like if something goes.
Right, you can holler at people.
You get people.
Did any of your friends?
People start petitions and all that shit.
Right.
I felt like there was none of the artists.
Crickets?
None of the fucking artists that I was supporting for 10 years since when they were broke ass motherfuckers were
Not A1?
90. Not even one.
But honestly,
since 91,
Stretch, your time,
91, nobody. I'm like, where are the calls? What's up? Anyway, it wasn't a big deal. I was really relieved.
Right.
And then and I was like, yeah, I'm not on some hip hop shit because I'm always, it's not contrived, but I always kind of do shit that somehow becomes controversial.
Right.
Put my foot in my mouth, and I was like, I'm on MySpace, like, stop sending me your whack hip hop demos. I'm not feeling
Fuck
it. I'm not
hip-hop.
and friends of mine were like checking me. I was like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with you,
Right.
man? Like, you're bugging. And then gradually over time, enough time went by where that era became, back then, and I never stopped loving old hip hop,
Right.
the hip hop, from the 80s and the 90s. That was always my shit. But I would say I would say this year in particular, I've been much more in tune with what's going on in hip hop, and
Right.
and you were there from, when I went.
We had that meeting.
Yes, yeah. You've been there since you were there right at sort of the inception of my
Your
my sort
return.
of my kindled interest
Right.
in what's going on in hip hop. Yeah.
Well, I think it's a beautiful thing, man, that, as we've grown with the industry, because I've had the same relationship, man. I remember it was basically 2002, 2003. I was like, I'm not enthused by this shit. I'm not enthused by what's being played on the radio. I'm not enthused by my clients who are making me money. I'm not enthused in terms of the artists that I'm looking for to push and market. And at that point, it was a godsend that the iPod had been created, and that I started seeing a downturn in business. It was affecting my bottom line. I was like, oh, well, this gives me an opportunity and a reason and an excuse to walk away from the music industry because I'm dead inside. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going through the motions.
Yeah.
And it was a couple of years after you took a break, but the internet started popping. And it was maybe 2 or 3 months after I left the music industry, I started discovering or rediscovering hip hop because I came across artists like Doom, who I totally ignored when I was in the industry, and a whole bunch of artists that wasn't playing on your top 40, that wasn't playing on Hot 97, but I was like, yo, this is some dope shit.
Yo, I find it really interesting how I'm into artists and music that I couldn't even have conceived of being into
while you were in the industry, while you were plugged in, because they weren't marketable in the way that we were programmed to market talent.
We're also older.
Yeah.
And it takes something else to what's the expression? To float our boat. Pause.
It does.
Is that pause worthy?
That's acceptable. That's
Yes.
acceptable.
Yeah.
That's acceptable.
Let pause. Let me ask you, man. I mean, I know you say that your memory's muddled over the years for whatever reason, man. But
For all the pot I'm not smoking.
yeah, for all the pot that you're not smoking. But what was some of
I
your?
think you trip.
You trip, man. Yeah.
What was some of what? No, I'm not. That's not me. That's not. I know. Yo, back in the 90s, I'd see people in clubs on the street. They'd be like, "Yo, keep it real. Yo, you motherfuckers are high as hell up there, right?" I'm like,
And
no,
Bobito
you
does
don't
that.
have to be high
And
to be that fucking.
If
nuts.
I recall,
Bob is a teetotaler. Like he ain't fucking with nothing.
Nah, I remember
Nothing.
that. I remember that.
But Bob is official Puerto Rican. I mean, he's
Oh my god.
he's been to the mountain already in his DNA.
But what were we gonna say?
But what were some of your most memorable moments, man? Your personal memorable moments during your run at KCR, man?
I would say Old Dirty. The second time he came up, first time he came up, he was Ason Unique.
Right.
And he killed it, smashed it. Second time he came up, it was Old Dirty, and he had a jug. I mean, like a 4-liter, 5-liter jug of vodka. He was drinking. Bob was telling him he can't do that. He was hiding it behind a newspaper, reading a porno magazine.
Antics.
Just bugging,
Right.
like almost like just a wild dude, like not listening to us.
Now, was
Like,
it like was it not productive, or did it?
No, it was incredibly entertaining
Okay.
and fantastic.
Right.
Nas.
Well, Nas.
Every time they came up, because now people are impressed by fame and fortune, whereas back then,
and impact also.
yeah, back then when Nas came up, all I knew about him was Live at the Barbecue.
Right.
First time he came up, and I was jocking.
Right.
I was like, yo, this is crazy.
Right.
I mean, the aura emanating from that dude, Pause, was bananas. I was like, this is he's the new Rakim.
Now,
That's it.
Now, internets. If you were not around back then, like Nas literally was like the second coming of hip hop, or at
Let me
least
tell you
He's
something.
but just off that Live at the Barbecue.
But not even
My respect for him.
right.
How just how much I revered him without knowing him, without seeing a video, just off of what I heard from one song, was so intense that when I was in the position to be able to sign him, I lost out because I was like, I can't. I could barely talk to the dude.
Right.
I was like, I gotta fucking get to know him.
Right.
Like he's gotta trust me. Like
Yeah. You were awestruck in a sense.
yeah, and so Ra, we were talking to Akinelli. He came to the station through Ak, and Ak was like, "Yo, Nas is hungry. He needs money. He wants a deal." We took him to the studio to see Search. They record Back to the Grill.
Back to the grill.
We're telling Search, yo, we're trying to sign him. But we weren't aggressive enough. So Search gives me gives me a brief pounds, like, yo, this dude is crazy.
I got your back.
Congratulations.
Industry rule. number
Congratulations.
2008.
Congratulations.
What happens the next day? Search is at Columbia signing a deal for Nas.
Get the
Industry
fuck out of
rule
here.
number
The next day.
4080.
The next day.
So
Record company.
so
If this is being videoed, cool, but I don't want that on the internet. Audio, fine.
okay. so what's your relationship with Search?
With
man?
Search, we're cool.
But it was
I
strange.
mean, it was,
Now, have you ever spoken to him about that incident?
we may have.
Right.
We may have.
No, you
'Cause
would know. You would know if you spoke about.
No,
that
I think we did because I was letting people know that I was unhappy about how that went down, and
that was the industry. I mean, you know what? That's what the industry started becoming, man. Like that was some fucked up shit, dude.
yeah, that was fucked up. It was fucked up, but it was also a lesson. It was like, yo,
If you see some shit hot, some hot
also
shit.
he was hungry,
Right.
That dude, hungry enough to sign a deal through Search,
exactly.
Who got part of his publishing at the time, which
Exactly.
he later got back.
Relinquished, right?
But I mean, it's like.
I didn't know that, man.
But I was, I was so respectful, and we were like, taking baby steps with this guy because
Because you've been respectful. You
We
were
also-
you were
also-
non-industry.
No,
That was
we-
your problem. You were non-industry.
we were also working for Big Beat,
You were not douchebag.
which was totally indie, not a powerhouse. No, they had done a deal with Atlantic, but it was like primarily a dance label at the time. We didn't have any credibility, so
Right.
we felt like, he's got to get to know us and be comfortable with us, and whatever. I mean,
You know what though, man? I mean, you can't. I mean,
Whack.
have you ever second guessed yourself about those? I mean, have you ever kicked yourself about that? Have you ever second guessed yourself with regard to that situation?
I mean, not really, because
Good.
I was
Good.
I was
Good.
and I was young and naive,
But you were also being honest and sincere with yourself.
Yeah, and I wanted to, and I was trying to, I was hoping that. I've always been like this. I only want to work with people that trust me, that
Right.
like me. We get along. We want to. We're friends. Let's make money together.
Rappers you know.
What's
Rappers
that?
you know.
Rappers, you know.
Exactly.
Give me a couple of other incidences that stand out, man. Like
At the station.
at the station.
Let's see. Oh, this is a good one. What's the expression? Let sleeping dogs rest.
Let sleeping dogs lie.
Lie.
Yeah.
My other brother, ICU, is much darker.
Yeah.
You know ICU?
I see you thugged out. I met him for the first time 2 months ago at the Source offices.
What's he doing?
I don't know, but he looked thugged out. People.
Really? Okay, ICU.
ICU.
I barely know the dude. I knew Tree,
Right.
who was like rolling with Jamal Ski, and they were making those leather pendants with the beads. Yeah.
Okay.
And ICU comes by the radio station, and he's not on the list. I was out of town. I was up at Vassar College doing a gig, and Bob, who didn't have an FCC license, was doing the show by himself. Really nervous that he's not supposed to be doing it because he doesn't have a license. Yada yada
Right.
yada. ICU. Somehow,
Even though you guys were under the radar.
yeah, ICU comes into the radio station. No, sorry. Bob tells ICU when he comes to the radio station that he's not on the list, so we can't come in. ICU, I guess in his mind he's like, I'm BDP. You can't.
I'm KS. I'm
hip-hop.
KS1's
You can't deny
older,
me.
darker brother.
So somehow he gets in the station and he vandalizes it.
Get the fuck out of
He
here.
starts ripping schedules off the posters down, pictures, and
And Bob was there watching that shit happen?
Bob was in the studio, but
Right.
he came out and he saw what happened. So I said some things about. So I was in Washington Square Park and I see Tree, and I was like, "Yo, Tree, what's up at ICU? You totally disrespected us. Like we've been, not that Boogie Down Productions needs our support,
Right.
but like you know what, like KRS-One's one of my favorite MCs. Like we play your records all the time. Like this was, and I said something about ICU that wasn't.
Being a douchebag?
Did I say that?
No, I'm saying ICU's a douchebag
Oh, did
for
it?
doing that. I'm saying that.
Oh.
This is Combat Jack.
Well-
saying that ICU was a douchebag for doing that.
It was
Douche.
not. It wasn't cool. You know what?
Douche.
I don't think he would disagree.
Right, okay.
This was a long time ago.
Right.
And like back then, like every week, like was a new time. Like
Right.
everything was changing so much, and he was young, and I think that was like kind of early on.
He was younger.
in KRS. Actually pulling these guys in.
He wasn't
to
young,
roll
he
with
was
them.
younger.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
So I said something to Tree, and Tree said to me, he said, "Yo, don't talk about my brother like that." And I was like,
So
all
Tree
right.
so Tree went there.
So Tree sold me out.
Right.
I pull up to Soul Kitchen. This is
God-
when
God bless Soul
This is
Kitchen,
when
by
Soul
the way.
Kitchen is at Wetlands.
Wetlands, the
Popping.
best. Poppington.
Packed.
Internets, y'all don't know about Wetlands.
Packed. I'm
y'all
talking
don't
about-
know about Soul Kitchen.
Yo, there's a crowd outside.
Internets, y'all do not know about Soul Kitchen.
And I'm on fire.
Right.
Pause downtown right now.
Right.
Like I know everybody.
The chicks.
So
that-
you're walking
chicks.
right to Chris. You're
So-
walking right to Jack.
No, so
whoever.
I pull up in the cab. I get out and I see ICU, and he sees me. He makes a beeline right for me, and I'm
straight
like,
in front of the crowd, right?
fuck,
Right.
this isn't gonna be good. So he puts his arm around me. He's like, "Yo, Stretch, we gotta talk." I was like, "All right, look, come on, let's go in."
But was
So-
he being extra aggressive or more
So-
like conciliatory?
No, he was being like, "We got a problem."
Okay, we
So
got
I was
a
like, "All right,
problem.
cool, let's go inside."
Right.
We go inside, and he's got his arm. He's a big dude.
No, he's a
I'm
tall
tall,
dude,
but
yeah.
he's tall. He's bigger than I am.
Did he reek like cigarettes? Because when he was at the Source offices, that motherfucker smelled like an ashtray, B.
So
I'm not. Now that's not shots. The motherfucker
So-
smells like an ashtray.
Wetlands.
KRS's older,
Yo,
darker brother
There
smells
have
like
to be
ash.
there have to be 1,000 people at Wetlands.
Right.
Packed. You cannot
Yeah.
move. You can't.
You can't. I remember that
Like
shit.
this.
Were they playing reggae?
Bar to bar.
Were they playing reggae at the time?
Right then? No.
Yeah, okay.
But so IC was like, he's like, "Yo, what were you saying about me? I heard you say," and like, I am no fighter, no thug. I am milk toast.
Right.
But I also speak my mind.
Right.
Like, if I get fucking knuckled up, whatever, I'm not gonna fucking bitch out.
Yeah, that be that.
So he says, "I want you to say what you said what you said about me to my face." I remember him saying, "We could take it. We could do that or take it to the streets. However."
But you just came off the streets. Like he walked you
So
inside.
I repeated what I said to his face.
Right.
Meanwhile, there was a perfect circle around us that had developed, and I was now like on display.
That's like some third grade shit.
I was like,
Fifth
these
grade
motherfuckers are waiting for some shit to happen.
That was that 3 o'clock shit.
That's high
This
school.
is
Like,
some
yo.
bullshit right here.
At 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
In Soul
3
Kitchen.
o'clock.
Perfect circle. I'm telling you, nobody was less than 12. The fucking radius was 12 feet.
So
you
did
know
you
about
start
geometry?
dancing? So at that point,
12
you start.
feet
Did you start dancing?
No, so I'm standing in front of him. I got a baseball hat on and glasses,
Right.
and he's yelling at me like acting like, and I'm like,
Oh, he got an audience at
Is
the
this
time.
dude gonna do something,
What
or
a
is he just
fucking
yelling? He's
douche.
or is he just gonna spit in my face? Like,
He's a douche.
so Clark Kent and Dante Ross see what's going on,
Right.
and they both pull up,
Right.
and Dante's like looking at him like, what?
Yeah.
And Clark Clark's
is now he's a sizable man.
Clark
Pause.
fucking
Pause.
Clark
Lip
puts
pause.
his hands on right next to ICU and says, "You touch him, you're pause." You,
gotta
didn't
touch
say
him.
pause.
You
but he
touch
says,
him, you gotta touch
You touch him, you're touching me. And ICU ended up just kind of like pushing the glasses off my face, and,
Right.
and Clark just grabbed him, and that was that.
Right.
And so that was kind of a funny experience. That was the full extent of the beef that I had
With BDP.
in 10 years on the radio.
So you survived beef with BDP.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
Listen, PM Dawn didn't survive.
PM Dawn didn't survive. MC
That's what
Shan didn't
happened.
survive.
Yeah. Sadly,
Miss
Scholar
Miss
Rock
Melody didn't survive.
But-
Scott LaRock didn't survive either.
But but ICU and I had since then.
It's real, true story.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we might not survive this weekend. So what the fuck?
Last show.
Maybe
last show.
KRS-One and PM Dawn should do a show on Saturday while the world is ending.
Yeah.
So we all go into the next life with some positivity.
Yeah.
But I've seen ICU since then. That was a long story that may not have had the payoff that you wanted.
Right. No, but but it's still.
But definitely, shout out to Clark Kent.
Shout out to Clark
Clark Kent. Interestingly enough, Clark Kent is the first DJ, professional or amateur, that I ever met in my life. I've known Clark since I think 1988.
Wow.
Maybe 89. Wow. Yeah, it's funny. I did a gig with KRS-One like 4 or 5 years ago for Sur, Sur, SSUR.
Yeah.
And KRS-One just acted like he didn't know me the whole night. It was
Really?
it was so, and it had nothing to do with that though.
But he's a
bug dude.
He's a bug nuts.
I
like
invited
Bob Bito used to say bug nuts, right?
Yeah, bug nuts. I at one time I went up, I asked Chris, I was like, yo, we want to do a live Stretch Armstrong Bobito kind of anniversary show for I think our 5th anniversary. And he came back at me with some outlandish, started getting all philosophical, talking about, well, is this going to be a commercial thing or
Some
a
Harry
cultural
Allen
thing?
shit?
And I was like, what
Was
are you
it some
doing?
Harry Allen?
We're Stretch and Bob? What are you talking about?
Did he hit you with the Harry Allen?
No, but shout out to Harry Allen. Harry Allen and I are Twitter friends.
Okay. I'm Twitter friends with Harry Allen also.
Which is crazy because for white people that weren't on the inside, and I wasn't when I was young, and like Harry Allen, I got to ask him. I was like kind of like, why does Harry Allen not like me?
Right.
He's a douche.
Winning.
Well,
That was Dallas Penn.
That was Dallas Penn.
That was Dallas Penn.
but anyway, so that's what's up.
Let me ask you this, man. Who did you think, out of everybody that was on your show, who did you know was going to blow up, man?
You mean when they were sort of unknown
When they were
and
unknown.
on my show?
Yeah.
I mean, Nas, clearly.
Yeah, you knew Nas. I mean, that was obvious.
That was a rap. I didn't think Jay-Z was going to blow up.
Nobody thought Jay-Z was going to blow up, except
Damon.
Clark Kent.
Hey, Clark.
Well,
yeah.
actually, I think Clark
Convinced Damon?
convinced Damon because I've said this many times. Clark used to tell me that Jay-Z was the hottest rapper alive, and I was like,
But you could say that about 10 people.
exactly.
Because that's how you promote, that's how you hype people.
Exactly. And
I'm not taking away from Clark because
No.
Clark, Clark is Clark.
But he was right.
Yeah.
I mean, all you need is to be right about one artist like
absolutely.
Jay-Z, who
Yeah.
is now hanging out with the fucking president.
Well, I did tell an executive at the time when I was at Sony. 50 was on Sony was with the Trackmasters, and he was leaving Columbia, so I couldn't sign him to Epic because he wasn't gonna
You
go
wanted to
from,
sign 50.
Yes, I wanted. I was bonkers about 50.
Right. Wow.
Bonkers, and
And he knows that.
oh yeah. 50 was on the. I got calls from people in LA like last year because they were talking about how'd you tell me about how you got started. And he was bigging me up.
Right.
He wasn't mentioning any. He was bigging up because I used to run 50 Cent regularly before anybody.
You know what, man?
But wait, so I couldn't sign him, but I told I'll name names. I told Craig Kalman in an email. I was like, "Yo," I said, the executive that was in a position to sign 50 but didn't is going to regret it. And I've never said that about anybody else.
Wow.
I have the email.
Well, it's ill because the only cat once 50 got blackballed in New York on the East Coast.
When was that?
It was like after he got shot.
Oh right, yeah, okay. Yeah,
Nobody wanted to fuck with
Right,
him.
right. That's when I wanted to fuck
and
with
the
him.
only the only other cat that wanted to fuck with him was Dino,
That's right.
At
Yes,
Universal,
at Universal,
because
that's right.
Because Dino
Yep.
wanted me to represent 50, and he sent 50 to my office because he wanted to close a deal.
Right.
And 50, I remember specifically, came to the office. He had the bulletproof vest on. He was with Sean Money, and he was like, "Yeah, like Universal, yeah, but the situation I'm in right now, I really can't afford to just have a regular deal because motherfuckers is really coming at my throat. I hear M might want to fuck with me. Let me go see what that shit is about."
Yep.
And then the rest was history.
Sure.
The rest was history, man. Now,
I remember taking, and this is a tangent, but I remember taking My Name Is to Tracy Cloherty. I sat in her office and I was like, listen to this. And what did she say?
what'd she say?
She said, we will never play Eminem.
Come on.
Yeah. I mean, that's...
What was her reasoning?
You know, because all the shit he's talking about women and all the
Where's she
sexist
at now?
stuff.
Where's she at now?
I look where I'm saying, like, Eminem never got played on Hot 87.
Yeah, exactly.
And I took Eminem. I took Eminem to Redman. I was like, "Yo, you need to do a record with this dude. Let's make it happen."
Now, were you fucking with Paul Rosenberg at the time?
I met Paul when after M had been signed, but Paul was still working at a law firm
Right.
in New Jersey.
Right.
But he was hanging out at the game offices with Shaq, with me. But M was already signed.
Right.
When I met Paul, M was already locked in.
Right.
What's your friendship with Redman? I feel like Redman is really the genesis for Tyler the Creator.
But Redman and I mean, he's a bug dude too. I gotta say,
No kidding.
I won't see that guy for like a decade, and I'll see him, and I'll be like, "What's up?" He'd be like, "Yo, what's up, Stretch?" Like we saw each other the day before. But he used to come to my crib and make mixtapes.
Right.
He would come over because he was a DJ at first. He was a DJ for Lords of the Underground. He was
the fuck outta
He
here.
was DJ Cut Killer.
Okay. Redman was
Not
DJ
the cut killer in France.
Right.
Yeah, and
Le Cut Killer.
He's always been a DJ, so he was like, "Yo, Stretch, I want to come over." He'd come over and get blended and DJ all night in my crib. And but yeah, hey, here we are on the radio.
Yeah.
They made a record. They finally made a record. But he wasn't really. But when I was playing him,
Did you ever hear that record?
It was on.
Not, okay, that period.
Yeah, it's a good record.
Stretch, man, we are at
I'll have to come back.
our last minute.
I'll
But
have to come
anything
back.
else you want to share with us, man, before we wrap up? Because this has been a great show.
Friday night. Where did Tony go?
Where's Tony Toka?
Tony Toka's here. Tony Touch.
Tony Toka's in the building, by the way. Internet.
Tony Touch and friends. They got a joint Friday night called Feel Good at Santos Party House, which is 96 Lafayette Street below Canal Street, and it's going to be. Wow, they gave me top billing. How about that?
Top billing, there you go.
It's Stretch Armstrong, who's that guy? Tony Touch and fucking Tony Humphreys.
Tony
what
Humphreys.
up?
Humphreys.
Dude, the internet's even know Tony Humphreys.
For real.
If you don't know-
Honestly, internets, wear some comfortable shoes. Bring a couple of T-shirts.
Tony Humphreys.
You're gonna dance.
Is more than a legend. That dude is a pillar, musical pillar. It's real important dude. So that's Friday night, and I don't know what's gonna go. I don't know what's on the menu musically.
I know motherfuckers gonna dance.
A lot of
Stretch,
dancing.
I'm seeing more of you, man. You're looking happy. You look like you're enjoying life.
Yeah. Why are we bumping into each other all the time? That's
I
because
mean-
I'm going to hip hop events.
Because you're coming out more.
Yeah.
You happy, man?
Yeah.
You're in a good place, man.
Yes, absolutely.
You got a lady in your life, man.
I
Come
do.
back, you
I do.
coming out?
I do.
You coming out?
Coming out where?
Pause,
I'm coming out of the heterosexual closet.
Coming out where? Like on Saturday? So your event is
Friday night at Santos.
So your
Yeah.
event might be the last hot event.
Of
humanity.
But I got something for hip hop heads.
Okay.
If the world survives past Saturday,
Yeah.
Sunday night, I've got a throwback hip hop party going at the Submerser. If you know about the Submerser, it's a classy joint in the basement. Only holds like 150 people. And I've been in there.
And don't bring your broad because
I've been in there
cat
playing-
fights jump off in that. Cat fights pop off.
I've been in there playing 80s and 90s hip hop.
It's
And
a fly
I've been
shit.
happy
It's a fly
as
scene.
fuck playing those records. And all it takes is a small crowd to have a great time in that place because it's so teeny. Sundays at the Submerser. That's 147 Mercer Street in Soho.
Now,
Don't come down with a group of dudes. It's not happening.
Don't bring a group of dudes. Just come solo.
Exactly.
Now I got to tell you this, man. you know, I've known you for a while, man. But like when we launched this show, man, I got to tell you that you were definitely one of the main inspirations for the Combat Jack show. So,
thank you very much.
So the fact that you're here, man, I really feel honored again. I'm not trying to get emotional, but really, like in terms of the spirit and in terms of like the atmosphere and the environment, man, we really not jacking, but we are trying to channel the spirit that you and Bobito created.
Thank
man.
you.
So thank you so much, man. Yo, Dallas Penn. It's end of days, B. This might be the last time I'm seeing you, son.
This might be the last time we get up and do this show. And I mean, I don't know if you come out to Santos Friday. I think I gotta go out to Armageddon dancing.
Okay.
You know, I mean,
I might be home with my kids, you know, reading bedtime stories and the whole night. But Dallas, if I don't see you, man, before the end of I love you, man.
Will you see each other in heaven?
Pause.
I don't know if I'll make it to heaven.
In hell.
I don't know if I'll make it. I don't believe in hell, but I don't know if I'll make it to heaven. But huh?
Hey, King, I love you, brother.
Hey, King, I love you too, man.
Hey, King, I hope you can get this show up before the world.
Yeah, please. Hey, King, please.
Donate, King.
Get the show up.
If you donate, King, I
get
love
the
you.
podcast up.
Will your auras intertwine and after
pause?
I'm pausing that, my brother. Pause. You need to tell me. By the way, you know, I'm not proud of anything that's homophobic and whatnot, but the reason why we didn't invent pause, but that shit exists because of our radio show.
No, of course, I know.
Period. People don't know that shit.
People don't know.
I want some fucking royalties up in this piece.
Yo, you got to trademark that shit, man. Copyright it. Yo, A King, man.
By the way, the party on Sundays is called Pause.
Pause?
Just for a little bit of irony.
Irony.
Because it's not a gay party.
Irony.
At all.
But gays are welcome to come.
Gays are welcome.
I hope they do. Yeah, gays like hip hop too
and spend money.
Yo,
right.
whose phone, man?
That's Hollywood. That's Hollywood.
Oh, yo, Hollywood. Once again, internets. This episode, this very last episode, this end of days episode, was brought to you by the kind folks over at Hollywood Bunch.
Respect.
Okay, 40% alcohol.
You know what time it is.
The other ingredients unknown.
Never lying.
Now, Premium Peter's in the house.
Premium Pete.
Premium Peter's been very quiet. Premium, you look a little perturbed, man.
Man, it's hot as a motherfucker in here.
It's always hot as a motherfucker in here.
Africa.
It is.
But are you all right tonight, man? You look a little upset, man.
I'm great, man. I'm great.
We about to rename the show Amistad.
I had a rough night last night, man. And
okay, though?
Dallas was burning. I mean, this guy, him and Robbie, cops are looking for them because they are killing open bars.
They're killing open bars?
I mean, killing.
It's late. I gotta go.
Killing open bars.
Yo, give Stretch a round of applause once again. My man, thanks a lot
Reggie,
for coming through.
Always a pleasure to see you. Thanks, guys.
Stretch Army on Twitter.
At Stretch Army on Twitter. Follow that man. Yo, internets, you know what time it is. Dream them dreams and then man up and live them dreams. Because the life without dreams is black or white. And the universe flows in Technicolor
Hollywood
and
Punch.
surround sound. Hollywood Punch. End of days is on.
Goodbye, internets. Goodbye.
Newmanati!
Goodbye, internet.